How's it going, y'all? It's 220 Prepper, and I got another video for you today. So this one is going to be Real About Your Weapons Part 2. So, essentially, I was talking with some friends, and we were going through our respective knife collection. Or knife collections, I should say. And I was helping him pick out what I believed should be his primary bugout blade. And he was thinking one way, I was thinking slightly different. So we kind of broke down the criteria and decided on a knife that neither one of us actually thought about. But I wanted to make a video about this because it's a very valid point of getting a blade that works properly and it works for you. So I made Be Real About Your Weapons, talking about how you need to select guns that are worthwhile to you. Select guns that are usable for you. Don't pick something that's massive if it's not available and things like that. So this one is all about proper utilization and comfort. And this one is primarily about bladed weapons. I've got a few misnomers, but we'll get to those in a minute. But the reason why it got started is because when I was talking to a different friend and his wife was like, oh, well, we should just use this knife because bigger is better. And you going from my collection, it'd be the equivalent of talking about something like this. This, while it does work for some people, I mean, it's a very long blade, full tang, it's sturdy, it's durable, it's nice and thick, it won't break easily. That seems to be enough for some people. And if you're one of those people, that's fine. More power to you. I am not one of those people, and there's plenty of people out there that are not. This blade doesn't work for everybody because it can't be used for numerous things. This knife would be combat only, maybe used as a mini machete, but I can't particularly justify using this knife for most field work, for bushcraft and things like that. I can't justify using it because I don't think it'll work that well. Will it? Maybe. There might be people out there that can use that knife to be able to do everything. They could probably skin a deer with that knife. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. So I started talking, and I'm going through other knives that I own that will be helpful. And they thought about this. This Timberwolf. Honestly, they went straight on size. And I said, pick it up. And because of how this handle is shaped, it's not straight. And that is very awkward at first. Can you eventually get around it? Yeah, you can. But a lot of people, when it comes to their bug out blades or their bug out gear, they kind of just sit it down and leave it in there until they need to grab it. So it's something that you need to adjust to isn't good for you either. And this is a very comfortable knife. It's long, but it's very light, so it doesn't feel as long as it actually is. And that's a very, very good thing about this knife that I would sincerely like. But this knife for me is more of a collectional piece. I had a second version of this one, and I gave it to a buddy of mine because I was like, I don't need two, and I'll never use it if I ever have to. So this is why I don't say that. And going on with this, the problem is a lot of people don't factor things like that in. And it's like, well, all right, this knife, it's a good length for me, but, you know, that's a little bit awkward, but you know what? It'll be fine. I'm going to just throw it in the bug out bag. That's not okay. If you need any amount of adjustment time, then maybe you should either use it, practice with it until you're comfortable with it, or just find something else. It's not a problem if you own 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 knives. It's not a problem. Nobody's going to judge you differently. So, moving along here, another knife that a lot of people would really like is this. And this one is actually my Glock field knife. I don't even think you'll be able to see it, but right in the middle, it's got the Glock logo. And I didn't know Glock made knives. I sincerely didn't. But this knife is universally comfortable. It's got a very thin K-bar grip. It's a lot thinner than a bunch of others. And it's a lightweight blade. It's a very, very good length. The only reason why this isn't my primary is because I don't like serrations. I got a black shirt, but I don't know if you can see it. I don't like serrations, and that knife is serrated in the back. I'll be doing a review on this knife very, very soon. So that's something to look forward to. But this knife will work for a lot of people. And another good thing about this is that click that you just heard, that was the lock on the sheath. So using some effort, I can't open it. So pushing your finger slightly underneath, it opens just like that. And that could be an issue for a lot of people. Because a lot of people will say, well, I want to grab my knife and just pull. They don't want to sit here and say, I need to grab my knife and open it like that. That's a problem for them. And if you're one of those people, that's fine. That is completely fine. It's your knife. It needs to be used for you. It needs to be comfortable for you. And if you're not comfortable moving that, then nobody is going to think anything less. Another issue that a lot of people face is the recommendations. Oh, we go onto YouTube because we look for ideas. We look for things like that. The problem is, well, this knife works for me. This knife right here. A lot of people say, oh, this works for me. This was great. And I did a video on this knife, and I'm in love with this knife. I really am. The problem is, it feels slightly heavy, and if the blade is just a little bit long for me. That's fine. I can work past that, and it's nice and thick. It's definitely thicker than some of these other knives I've shown. It's a great knife, full tang and everything, but this knife doesn't work for everybody. For me, it's just a little bit long, but for my brother-in-law and my godbrother, they both are in love with this knife. They want it. I'm not giving it to them, though. But this works for them a bit better than it works for me. So I could do that as a recommendation, and somebody could go online and order this knife, and when they get it, the fact that the handle is too thick is an issue for them. The fact that the blade is so long is an issue for them, and they just don't know. Even if I were to give the measurements out, which offhand I don't actually remember, it still could, they could be going under the assumption that that would work for them, and they just don't actually know until they get it, and then they're stuck with a knife that's too big. So get options to realize that this works for you. You can go to your local gun stores. They've got knives. Hey, can I see that knife? Hey, can I hold that knife? Sure. Find one that's comfortable for you. That's how I found this Glock knife. I know I don't like the serrated edge on it, but you know what? It's still a damn good knife. Here's another thing. I own a karambit. Actually, I own several karambits. I am in training to be able to use this properly. And until I am perfect with it, I won't be using this as a combat or a bug out or battle blade or whatever. There are guys out there that can conduct a symphony orchestra with this blade. I am not one of them. I can hold my own, but I am no master of this knife. I've gone onto YouTube, I've been everywhere, and you can see the lethality of a karambit. It is a dangerous, dangerous blade, and I love it. I'm just not a master. I am not proficient with this blade. And there are people out there that have gotten karambits because they know how good it is, and then they realize, wait, this is kind of awkward. And then they'll go and do some of the flips and things that they've seen, and then they're going to wind up slashing their arms. It's happened. Hell, it happened to me. I stabbed myself with this by accident just practicing with it. That's why I won't use one like that until I am proficient with it. And that is a problem that many people face. And so then you've got other people who are like, well, I've got this knife. Well, I've got a butterfly. Here's the problem with having a knife like this. It's the same as this holster. When you pull this knife, that's the minimal movement to be able to open it. That's it. And the problem is, I mean, you know, you got everybody going online doing all their flips and tricks and whatnot. And, you know, watching Alicia and Fear of the Walking Dead utilize this in the zombie apocalypse. The problem is, under stress and the worst possible conditions, your hands are wet, the blade's wet, it's in the, you know, it's raining outside, your stress levels are up, you know, everything is going off, and you now need to pull this, even with that whole, can you do that quickly, efficiently, without dropping it? If you can, power to you. But this is not something I would ever recommend people just carry, or especially go in their bug out bags or as a combat blade or EDC. I would never recommend this. This is a fun toy. It's a very sharp knife, but it's not something that I would just recommend. I can't bring myself to do it. And then you got people that are like, oh, this is a belt buckle. This is a belt buckle, but it can be utilized a particular kind of way. Problem is, in most states, it is illegal to carry these. Problem number 2 is these can't go on a belt. These can't go on a vest. These can't go on like a chest rig. So this has to be in your pocket. And if you need to draw this quickly, you got to reach in your pocket, pull it out, put your hand through it, and you're ready to go. Even if you put your hand through it while it's still in your pocket, you still have to reach all the way into your pocket. And that's a problem. Unlike, just carrying a knife clipped to your pocket. You don't have to reach all the way in. With this, you got to reach all the way in. And the problem is, if you're in a state where carrying those is illegal, that's a whole nother problem right there. That's an entirely another problem right there. And then you got the people that they know that they need something, but they just are afraid of knives. And that's fine. It's understandable if you are. Or maybe they don't do blood well. Maybe they see blood and get real queasy, weak in the knees. Maybe a sight of blood makes them nauseous, whatever. You've got options such as this, The extendable baton, axe batons, whatever you really want to call them. It's a good option. And, these are really perfect for people who will never cross the line of taking somebody's life. Will never cross that line. These are perfect for them. These were designed to be non-lethal. You can hit somebody in the head with this and they will go unconscious. They might wind up start bleeding, but it will not actually kill them. You will have to hit them in the head a few times to actually cause enough damage to kill them. This is not a one-hit kill weapon unless you're like one of the world's strongest men. And that's a fact. It was designed to be non-lethal. And even if it's not extended, this as is still a good weapon. And now you've got some range to it. So this is something else that people don't always think about. It doesn't need to be a blade. It doesn't need to be a severe weapon. It doesn't have to be a super knife. It doesn't need to be, a super functioning knife like this one here. It doesn't have to be something like that. It doesn't need to be a martial artist blade like a karambit. Even if it's just something to protect yourself and the worst comes to worst, then that's all it is. The whole purpose of this is figuring out what it would be that would work the best for you. It could be a karambit. You could be a master martial artist. Maybe you are a Bowie knife kind of guy. Maybe you can do absolutely everything you need in that particular case. Maybe the Glock field knife is the perfect knife for you. Figure out what it is. Don't be afraid to go through knives. You could always have a yard sale and sell them later if you wanted to. Don't be afraid to go through them. And that's just where it is. Find out what works best for you and what is comfortable for you, and you won't have any issues. This is 220 Prepper, and I am signing off.